2013, we were reintroduced to a beloved franchise from the early PlayStation era, Tomb Raider. And we get introduced with the start of the new series. The title's Tomb Raider. No subtitle. So I've never played any of the Uncharted games, but I'm assuming that if you gave Laura a haircut, this is probably what it would end up being like. I've heard a lot of great things about that series, and I absolutely loved this game when I played it originally in 2014. I played through the whole game. I thought it was magnificent. So coming back to it, it was kind of weird, and I'll go into that a little bit later. So the game is mostly linear, but there's a lot of open areas that you encounter throughout the game where you can run around and kind of explore and look for these little like treasure boxes that have artifacts that give you kind of like a enriched backstory to where you're at in the game, and just different cool little stuff like that to kind of like enhance your experience, and it's not so, you know, just straightforward and boring, I guess. There's also these hidden tombs that you can find in these big open areas where you go through, and if you have the right, you know, resources to get into the tomb itself, you'll go through a huge puzzle sequence and gain another artifact just by, you know, completing the puzzle, which is kind of fulfilling in itself. I kind of like that. They're not like scattered everywhere, but when you do find them and you figure out the puzzle, it's kind of rewarding. Like you kind of feel good about it. So I thought those were pretty cool. Once you've gotten past the startup sequence and more of the tutorial type stuff in the game, you kind of come across your first weapon, which is the bow and arrow. I think that's really like probably the most iconic weapon that you'll probably use in the whole, you know, franchise. I'm pretty sure there's two more Tomb Raider games after this one, and I'm pretty sure you always have a bow in each of those games. So you obviously get it straight out of the gate, which I really like the functionality of it, because you can the game kind of wants you to like hunt animals as well, so you can run down into these like wooded areas and stuff like that and kill rabbits and deer and wolves and stuff like that, and you get rewarded for doing that, which if you have the right like skills and stuff like that, because you get perks and all kinds of crazy shit, then you get resources for killing the animals, which makes it rewarding to hunt. And I don't know, it's just the bow and arrow, super cool weapon. I've always liked it in pretty much any game that I've used. So A1, great weapon of choice. Now, just because I'm a fanboy for the bow and arrow itself, I'm not going to say I hate the other weapons in the game. They're actually pretty cool. You get like a standard pistol. I couldn't tell you what kind of pistol it is. It just looks like your generic 1911, or maybe it's a Beretta, or who knows. But you get the pistol. The only thing I don't like about the pistol is that when you first get it, the magazine size on it is super small, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. You also get a, like, I want to say it's like a World War II era submachine gun. It's kind of just like what you use as like a fully automatic weapon. And then you also get a trench shotgun, which I would assume is also World War II era. But the cool thing about the shotgun is that it actually has functionality where it'll blow, like you can use it to shoot down these barricades and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. The submachine gun on the other hand, I didn't really like it too much because it doesn't have a like really good accuracy. Like the bullets are really all over the place. But yeah, there's an upgrade system. Let's get into that. So even though the pistol's magazine size sucks, and the submachine gun itself is super inaccurate and I don't enjoy using it, while you're progressing through the game, you find these like little boxes of like metal and stuff like that, and you can also, once you get certain perks, you can loot enemies and animals to get scrap as well. And you can use that scrap to upgrade your weapons. And when you get the main like firearms of the game, you can upgrade those pretty much right out of the gate. Like as soon as you get the pistol, you can upgrade the magazine size on it and put a muzzle brake on it and put a better slide on it. And all of that's going to help the performance of the weapon, which is super cool, because if you like that weapon enough, you can upgrade it and make it better, and you can use it because you want to use it. Whereas I don't really care for the firearms too much. I'd rather just use the bow. They kind of slow down the progression of the bow because they know that it's kind of like the most important piece to like the actual gameplay, because you don't get silencers for any of these weapons or anything like that, because you're on a fucking deserted island. Where are you going to find a silencer? So they want you to upgrade the bow at a slower pace, so they make it to where when you kill different sorts of enemies or loot certain boxes or whatever, etc., you'll find bow parts, and once you find enough parts, you'll unlock a new upgrade section to the bow, which I thought was pretty cool. Kind of helps slow down progression, but it makes it also rewarding when you find these bow parts if you scavenge around and loot enough. So, weapons, bad, make them good. If you like them, awesome. I don't care for them that much, but if you like them, go for it. So, moving on past all that great stuff I just talked about the game, coming back to this game in 2019, I don't know what has happened, but I guess from what I've, looked into online, it looks like there was some sort of update or patch or something to all of these Tomb Raider games that ended up screwing a whole bunch of stuff up. It's not like, I don't know, it's when I got on the game and I was trying to progress through certain sections, like fucking parts of the map weren't loading, so I couldn't climb up the ladder to get to the next area, or I couldn't grab the bow because it wasn't like there wasn't a cutscene that was supposed to activate when it was supposed to, and it was like actually halting progress. There was one part where I was following one of the other NPC characters up the mountain or whatever, and I got to this little like totem, like not really a totem, but like a shrine that has like candles and stuff on it, but it didn't load correctly, so I could just walk up to the shrine and look around it, but it was supposed to be a spot where a cutscene activates and you get ambushed by all these people and all this stuff goes on and happens, and like it's so bizarre because you're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. The people are just standing still because nothing, like there's not another part to their dialogue or their animations what they're supposed to be doing, so it just completely like breaks your immersion and you're just standing there wondering what the fuck's going on. There was a whole like ton of people online that were saying like, oh, you got to go into your settings and turn this off, and the exclusive full screen is a huge problem, and you got to change this setting and that, and make sure that your task manager has it on high priority and all that stuff, which I don't want to go through that when I play a game. I mean, this game is kind of old. I mean, it's not like super old, but it's from 2013. It still should run relatively good on a newer like operating system, etc. Blah blah blah. Like I know Windows 7 was on back then, but I mean, I don't know, dude. What's wrong with this? Like, I don't know what they did with the patch and why they haven't fixed it by now. Because there's posts going back from like early, like not super early 2018, but like 8 months ago from what it was telling me, that people were experiencing these kind of problems, and basically people were just like, hey, you can try these settings. If they don't work and you encounter like a bug or something, you just gotta close the game and reopen it and make your way back to that part, which is that's super off-putting. Like, I don't want to play the same section 6 times in a row if it's not gonna load correctly. Like, that sucks. So I don't know, that was a huge issue for me. What the fuck? I'm so fucking mad right now. Dude, what is happening? What is this? What do you do? What the fuck? Tomb Raider can't grab bow. Why is this a fucking problem? Won't grab the damn bow. So I just started playing, obviously, and I'm in the tree trying to grab the... Altogether, this game is super fun. I would love to give it like at least a 4 out of 5 on a score scale, but with all the like crazy weird like bugs and stuff that have happened since the game released, or like in the past year or so, I honestly don't know. Like sometimes I would boot the game up and it would work fine. Other times it just wouldn't cooperate with me. So I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 5. I feel like that's kind of fair. If you can get past all those bugs and find an actual fix for it, the game is super fun. I think it took me 8 hours to beat the game all the way through the first time, but that's not with you going back through the old sections of the game and finding secrets with your new stuff that you get and acquire, because you can do different stuff after you get further in the game. So, I mean, I don't know. The game's not super expensive. I'm sure you can find it on sale for pretty cheap because this is from 2013. I have the next installment. I think it's Rise of the Tomb Raider. So if I get that and roll that for my next Steam Roulette, please send help. I don't know why I keep rolling Tomb Raider games. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.